After months of toiling in the epic rarity, it's finally coming to an end with Meeple. Meeple is one of the most interesting but hated brawlers in the game, and funnily enough, those two adjectives are quite tied together when it comes to Meeple. In this video, we'll take a look at his basics and then talk further about him, talking about how his character design is actually reflected through his mechanics, and how that reflects in how hated he is, along with much more. If you want a fun place to talk about Brawl Stars or participate in our 1v1 rank system called Gauntlet and just general stuff, join our Discord server. Link will be in the description. Also, make sure to subscribe to keep up with the PowerPoints, and finally, if you want to help support the channel, become a member. As always, let's start out with the basics. Meeple has a mediocre health of 6600 and a normal movement speed. As for his main attack, Meeple shoots a homing projectile that deals 25-20 damage. It has a pretty solid range of 7.67 tiles and a reload speed of 1.7 seconds, which is normal. Meeple's super sees him create a 3.33 tile radius of an area, which allows Meeple and his teammates to shoot through walls for a duration of 10 seconds. With that out of the way, let's start talking about Meeple. He's actually quite the unique brawler in how he's played. He's like the perfect generalist brawler. He's not exactly insane at anything. His DPS is pretty mediocre, his range is pretty mediocre, and he overall doesn't have any crazy stats. With that being said, he doesn't really have major weaknesses, which is exactly what a generalist should be. He has tools to deal with aggro brawlers and throwers, especially with his stun gadget, which is unfortunately a get out of jail free card. Against throwers, he has a super, which basically hard counters them, as not only Meeple gets free access to them, but his teammates as well. Against marksmen, it's a bit murky, though if Meeple manages to get close, his homing and damage can make it an easy win. Speaking of unfair advantages, let's talk about Meeple's character design. Meeple is basically all about cheating and bending the rules in games. However, he hates it if others do the exact same thing, being a stickler for the rules at the same time as being a cheater. With this description, let's take a look at Meeple's mechanics and see how they fit into this. First of all, Meeple's main attack. Having a homing attack is something literally only 3 other brawlers have: Hank's Hypercharge, Belle's Hypercharge, and Piper's Gadget. So, it's extremely rare and not a single brawler has a homing attack with their main attack. Other than Meeple, of course. It's not crazy, but it's good enough to the point where, as long as you know how to aim somewhat, it basically becomes impossible to miss at certain ranges. Interestingly, this leads into a bit more of a controlling aspect for Meeple than meets the eye. Especially for squishy brawlers or brawlers who have low health, it becomes a huge danger to be near Meeple due to his homing attack. If they get close, he'll be basically guaranteed a kill on them. This allows Meeple to create a lot of pressure on these enemies, forcing them to hide away and creating space for his own team to move in. Next, his super. Meeple's super is once again a great form of cheating. Allowing your team, but not the opposing team, to be able to shoot through walls fits perfectly with Meeple's design. As for the super itself, it's just like his main attack, creates a lot of pressure for the opposing team. Suddenly, Meeple now has a buff that they don't have, with Meeple able to shoot them without any fightback from the enemies, forcing them to stay away or get eliminated. There's also a bit of a support aspect to him as well, allowing teammates to shoot through walls as well, simply making the area even more dangerous. Of course, we can't forget about his unlockables. Both his gadgets are extremely annoying to face off against and definitely feel like cheating. His Hypercharge is even more annoying, bringing both water and transparency to the table, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Now, let's talk about Meeple in the meta. On release, he was a clunky and mediocre brawler, with mediocre stats despite seeming like he would be a broken brawler before release, especially with the whole homing attack thing. However, his gadgets, especially the mansions of Meeple Gadget, were broken and had some insane bugs, especially with Willow and Doug, so that sort of made up for Meeple himself being pretty mid. He was overall just a mid brawler for a while, but Brawlstars decided what would be better than to overtune a brawler to the absolute max. And that's what happened with Meeple. He got huge buffs with the health increase, reload time decrease, main attack damage increase, and a supercharge rate increase. Once again, we see when Brawl Stars buffs a brawler, they either give them absolutely nothing or everything. Even with this buff, Meeple still wasn't exactly broken, though he was much better than before and an actual viable option. One of his main weaknesses before was his mind-numbingly slow reload speed, so this buff helped alleviate that problem, though it had the side effect of making his main attack easier to spam. However, a real boost came later in the form of Meeple's Hypercharge. Meeple's Hypercharge saw him and his teammates be able to walk on water and through walls. Furthermore, the super radius was larger. It may not seem that big of a change, but for Meeple, it was huge. Not only did it allow him to compete with the other Hypercharge brawlers, but it gave him important buffs to the super, especially with the whole walking through walls mechanic, giving him much more mobility and ability to chase down enemies while giving him more protection. With the buffs that came earlier and the new Hypercharge, Meeple transformed into a beast. With actually good stats, his broken mechanics finally came to light and could finally shine. He turned into an S tier brawler, even being considered a top 3 brawler in the game. And how did Brawl Stars nerf him? A small Hypercharge nerf. To make matters even worse, he even got an HP buff last month. A buff to an S tier brawler? Genuinely, what was their plan? Because I have no idea what they were cooking up, as Meeple is S tier to this day. Anyway, let's move on to Meeple's unlockables, starting off with his gadgets. Meeple's first gadget is Mansions of Meeple, which sees Meeple's next main attack throw out a 6x6 wall of dice to trap enemies in. This is one of the most uniquely designed gadgets in the game, allowing you to trap enemies or trap yourself from enemies. Furthermore, you can combo it with your super, allowing easy access to your enemies, while your enemies are left to suffer. Meeple's second gadget is Rage Quit, which stuns and knocks back enemies near Meeple. With the less health Meeple has, the more the stun and knockback is. This is genuinely one of the most Rage Quit inducing gadgets in the game. Basically gives Meeple a free get out of jail free card, allowing him to either destroy enemies with the stun or get away and heal up. Basically, this is one of the worst designed gadgets in the game and is a very clear example of power creep, especially when considering someone like Jean or Em's knockback compared to this. Meeple's first star power is Do Not Pass Go, which sees Meeple deal 600 more damage through environments. This is a solid star power, but of course situational, as it requires the super being placed down and actually being able to hit your shots. Meeple's second star power is Rule Bending, which sees Meeple and his allies getting a 20% reload speed increase inside the super radius. Once again, solid star power, and it actually corrects for one of Meeple's biggest weaknesses, which is his normal or even slow reload speed. Overall, Meeple is quite the brawler to end off the epic brawlers on. His entire design is based on his personality, cheating at games. From his super, to his unlockables, to his main attack, everything is based around getting the upper hand over your opponent, which is obviously balanced by his stats. Well, at least it used to be, before Brawl Stars decided to turn Meeple into a machine, with huge buffs and a very, very annoying Hypercharge. Thanks to Narcissist for helping out with the video, and as always, thanks for watching. Watch this video, or this playlist, or join the Discord server.